What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan. Canada wins 5-0 over Finland. We go from losing 5-0 to winning 5-0. That's good. At the same time, that's expected. You are expected to beat Finland. You're expected to beat Finland handily. Again, this really comes down to the gold medal game. Now, by winning, it does guarantee that we avoid the U.S. until the gold medal game. We won't see them again until the gold medal game. Who knows? Maybe something weird will happen. Maybe Finland or someone can pull off the big upset, and we don't even have to see the U.S. Or we still need to win our games. We cannot take anything for granted. Even though I think now the expected results are probably going to happen. We're probably going to get Canada, USA, gold medal. Hopefully this is a bit of a confidence booster going into that game. If there's one thing that can give you, there's a few things where you might have hope. Number one, we come in hot going into the quarterfinals. If there's one good thing about the postponement, right? I wanted to talk about that for this game. This game was supposed to be how we opened up the Olympics, and instead it got postponed because of norovirus, so we play it now. I think that's a good thing, hindsight being 2020. Because if we had 1, 2, 3 wins in a row and then got smacked 5-0 and have to go into the quarterfinals off of that, this gives you a confidence booster before the quarterfinals. And I think that's something we need now more than ever. The U.S., we know, they're tough. We nearly lost Fillier in this game. If we don't have Poulin and Fillier, might as well not show up. Fillier is an example of youth, and I might prove that youth is a good thing to have. She's one of our younger, faster players that can actually keep up with the U.S. You can't lose her. You can't. Again, there are reasons for hope. Desbiens had a great game today. Even though ultimately Canada outplayed Finland, Finland kept up for a good chunk of the game. Finland stuck with it. Desbiens was tested. And I think that's good, because that's something we tend to forget. Sometimes the goalies for Canada and the U.S. don't really get tested until they face each other. Yes, they get tested, but not to the same degree. Not with that same skill level. It can maybe get you out of stride a bit, but no, Finland, if Desbiens was caught sleeping, we could have let this game get away from us. When the game was close and we needed saves, Desbiens was there. And she made those saves. And she kept us in this game, and we wouldn't have run away with it 5-0 if we let in a goal or two early. I think that's where you have to hope, hey, maybe Frankel's off her game in the gold medal game. We can get 2 quick ones. That's the kind of thing you need to hope for. And to be fair, this is a game where, if Desbiens was off her game, Finland could have taken a lead. Finland could have taken an early lead. The start of the game, it's not just that, it was 1-0. Gardner gets us on the board first, but the first period ends 1-0, and we get to about the halfway point of this game. It's only 1-0. That's not the concern. The concern for me was that the level of play was even. The shots were even, but the intensity, the pace, they were keeping up. And you don't see that as often. Now, what you do sometimes see, and this game was an example of it, is that a team is able to keep pace with Canada and the U.S. for a while, but eventually they just run out of gas. They just run out of steam, or something happens that gives Canada or the U.S. momentum, and boom, once they have it, they do not let it go. They hang on for dear life. With Canada and the U.S., you see momentum typically swing back and forth. Now, obviously, recently that hasn't been the case. Recently, once the U.S. gets momentum, much like us against Finland, that's it. That's the game. And you need to find a way to switch it back and forth. But typically, you look at 2022, 2018, 2014, 2010, 06, 02, 98, all of the other Olympics. It's never just been kind of one side absolutely dominating another one, putting it on cruise control. It's been a bit of a back and forth. Even if score wise it's not back and forth, play wise, typically it is back and forth. And you see that, between the other non-Canada U.S. teams, like, Finland, Switzerland, Czechia, Sweden, they will play a bit more of a back and forth style. One team will be playing really well for a little while. Another team will play really well for a while. That's how this game started. That's how the first half of this game started. Canada was playing well. Do not get me wrong. Canada was playing well. Finland was matching us, which is not typical. And then, halfway through the second period, there's a moment, I think it was the watershed moment, that changed this game. Ahola loses her stick. And she plays out of her mind. Up until this point, she was having, first star of the game type of play. No stick, she keeps it out. The Finnish defenders are holding strong, and she covers the puck. As a Canadian fan, only up 1-0. The panic alarms are almost starting to go off. She doesn't have a stick. Score. Make it 2-0. Don't let Finland stay in the game. Don't let them hang around. That's how you... Finland knows that's how you lose. You want to know how I know Finland knows? Because I'm sure a bunch of them saw what happened to the men. You let Slovakia stick around. You don't bury them. 2-1. 3-1. Empty netter. You gotta put teams away, or it will burn you. And she covers it and gets her stick back. And I'm like, oh man, that is a moment. A pivotal moment where you need to make use of that. And we did. Even though we didn't score, which initially had me a little hesitant about being excited, ultimately that is when the game changes. And all of a sudden, from that point on, it is all Canada. And we get, not long after this, I think it was, maybe a minute after that, we get a goal. And literally 2 minutes, 2 seconds later, we get another. Because even though we didn't score, we got the momentum and we clung on. We were able to hold on to that momentum for the rest of the game. And that is when Finland really struggled to find an answer and we started to really take over. And we now made it 3-0. At the end of the first period, we were up 1-0 and I was happy about that. And I thought that we deserved to be up 1-0. I did think we were the better team, but I didn't think we were, better by a whole lot. Finland was keeping up. Finland was able to duke it out with us. Through the first half of the second period, the same rang true. I'll admit, I was worried. I was worried Finland was going to get a goal and be right back in this game. But from that moment forward, it was all Canada. And, we go into the third, and almost immediately into the third, Emily Clark scores her first goal of the tournament to make it 4-0 Canada. And now if there is any doubt about who's going to win this game, it can be dispelled. And as the cherry on top, Emily Clark says, why not? Why not? One more for the road. She scores again. She makes it 5-0. Always nice to see charge players getting involved. Speaking of, timeout, quick charge break. Emily Clark leads the charge. 2 goals so far in the tournament. And she is a +3. I'm going to get to that in a second. Brianne Jenner, despite being a -1, she's 2 assists and 2 points in the tournament so far. Jocelyn Larocque, similarly, she's not similar. It's kind of the opposite, if anything. No goals or assists, but she's a defender who's been getting a lot of ice time, and I've seen some criticisms on her, and oh, she's cost us this, she's cost us that. She's not cost us this tournament. She's a net zero. She's a net zero plus minus, so she hasn't cost us anything so far. Now, yes, obviously, you know, when you've played 3 teams that you should be beating the brakes off of and you've had 1 loss, yeah, I get it. But nonetheless, so far in this tournament, she has not been inherently detrimental to the team. And I'm going to stand on business, okay? This is one of my charged players, a player that I care about, a player that I'm passionate about. You think I don't see these things? You think I don't see people say stuff? I do. Do I sometimes say stuff? Hey, I don't think she's had that bad of a tournament. And this ain't the rivalry series. And so far, you know what? What she's done so far, I don't see anything you can complain about. She's played pretty well. Rania Savalainen and Gilday, both are still looking for their first points of the tournament. I trust Gilday will probably get that. I hope Savalainen does. Obviously, Savalainen not being on Canada or the U.S., it does make it tougher. Especially because Canada and the U.S., half their games are going to be 5-0, more than half. For the U.S., basically all their games are going to be 5+ goal games. And for Canada, most of their games are going to be 5+ goal games. There's just more opportunity to get on the point sheet. And as for our goaltenders, they've both been playing very well. Phillips, much smaller sample size, but in the game that she played, she's Gwyneth Phillips. And that's one thing about this game. This game really made me comfortable in our tandem. Yes, I know 5-0. I know that maybe things got away from her. It's also Team Canada. And she was able to stick it out for like most of the game. And by most of the first half, as in a majority, as in like 30 minutes in, and it was still very much a game. And that is in large part thanks to Ahola. Because if she plays poorly, if she lets into soft ones, or if she lets into like medium ones, no one blames her. It's Canada. What can you do? If it was 3-0 at the end of the first, what can you do? It's Canada. It's okay. But she played really well, in my opinion. And she's been playing really well. And the numbers don't always reflect that. When you are facing Canada and the U.S. and you're the Finnish goaltender, like, it's going to happen that you're not going to put up the most stellar, most amazing numbers in the world. She's still having a very good tournament. Now we set our sights to the quarterfinals. This should be a win. I'm going to say it. Canada should get to the gold medal game. That expectation hasn't changed. I do question what the expectation is. I think for the casual viewer, the expectation is gold. I think for most, if you aren't intimately aware of women's hockey and the goings-ons of the international women's hockey scene, which, to be fair, a lot of Canadians only think, we're the best at hockey, and they have. Like, there's a lot of people who don't watch the NHL and they don't watch the PWHL, but they watch Olympic hockey, especially when NHL and PWHL players are playing. And so they just, the expectation is just, Canada's probably the favorite, right? Even though this year, no, we really are the underdog. We're a pretty significant underdog. Like, I'd consider us like a 3-goal underdog going into the gold medal game. Like, it's not that close. But now's the time to tune up. And now's the time to experiment. Well, let's look at who scored again. Gardner. Watts. You know who's been leading Canada a lot? Fillier. Gardner's barely had any ice time. Barely any ice time. She looked really good against the U.S., And this game, she's been great. If there's ever been time to expect, because here's the thing, you can't look at this game and it's 5-0 and Canada wins and you go, oh, well, we're fine. No, you can't. You need to still be basing everything we do off the 5-0 loss to the US. That's going to be the gold medal game. That's going to be the rematch. That is going to be how the game's probably going to go unless we really work. Unless we really tweak things. And you know what? I'd rather lose in the quarter or semifinal. Yes, in embarrassing fashion. Yes, to a team that we probably should beat. But if we lose by trying to prepare ourselves for the gold medal game, I'd rather lose in the quarters or semis than lose in the finals. Because we didn't change anything. That is so much more embarrassing. That you get an opportunity to face your opponent. They beat the brakes off of you. They just smother you all game. And then you don't change anything and you go back in and you expect a different result. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But you have these two high stakes elimination games where you can allow the players who maybe you haven't been giving as much ice time, as much ice time. You can play around. You can tweak it. You can see if it works. Because you can't do the same thing against the US. And we can't change our roster. That ship has sailed. But we can change how we utilize the roster that we already have. And hopefully this will be with Marie-Philippe Poulin playing at 100%. It's a good game. Canada played well. And there's one thing that I liked. It's that, yes, we hung on to that momentum. Like, we looked like Canada again. We looked like Canada. But you got to stay consistent with that. And you got to know that the US, they really look like the US right now. More than they ever have in their entire existence. They look so good. This is supposed to be their coronation. The gold medal game is supposed to be a formality. But if there's any team that can summon every ounce that they have in them and be blessed on the weirdness of the Olympics, because sometimes things that shouldn't happen just happen. And really, sometimes things that should happen in the Olympics, they happen, even if it goes against the expected result. But if we don't change anything, nothing's going to change. And you can beat Finland 5-0 all you want. But we all know that's not why you came to this tournament. I know that's not why you came. You know that's not why you came. So let's get ready. We got 2 big games ahead of us. And if we can win both of those, we get a shot at redemption. And as always, go Ottawa, go, and go Canada, go.